I'm Vlad, one of the three co-founders of Morfin. Morfin comes from more financial independence. So even though maybe we'll bring some relief to some companies in these days, it's finance related. Like many of you, these days I was finding myself at home. Are the slides working? Because it's not moving on my side.
Not yet.
Okay, now?
Good, Vlad. Carry on. We can hear you. We can see you fine.
Okay, good. Thank you. So, like most of you, I was stuck at home for the last weeks. So I was wondering, and I turned to Google Trends to see what else is going on in the world. So what I found out was very interesting, that people are asking Google about what's the best investing app in these times. And also they are wondering in what to invest. I found also some similarities with the 2008 crisis, that people are looking for safe investments or fixed return investments. And of course, which was a bit surprising, was that people seem to be more willing to help others, and by others I mean businesses. And I suppose this is because it's not the banks which are asking now for help. Now it's you and me, asking for help, and especially if you are an SME, you have experienced decrease of demand, you have cash flow problems, and you have also difficulties to find financing. Of course, if you are lucky and you still have a job and you are a normal person having a job, then you are facing with challenges of saving more, looking for safer and diverse investments, and even starting looking to alternative investment and fixed return. So to satisfy both of these problems, I have again problems with the slide. Okay, to satisfy both of these problems, so the problems of both of these groups, we created a flexible solution for crowdfunding addressed to SMEs and investors. We're targeting now music festivals, travel industry, and restaurants and bars. And we are looking to companies which have a strong presence online and big community engagement on social media. How does it work? Basically, it's an onboarding page on which the borrowers are onboarding, and they give information about the project they want to get financed, or the amount they want to borrow. And after that, we publish the investment and we tokenize the loan, which means that we split it in small pieces, in small tokens, which we are registered on the blockchain. And this gives us flexibility in the next phase when the borrower has to repay. And in this case, he has lots of options, like giving back money with interest or converting these tokens in other instruments like vouchers, which can be spent directly from our applications, or both of them in the same time, vouchers and money. How the user experience looks like? Well, it's more or less like a mobile banking application, which has a very easy flow to invest in projects. And after that, you will have all your assets and in form of tokens, and all your money, because we provide also a bank account for the borrower and for the investors in the same place in your application. And you can exchange on a peer-to-peer marketplace with the other members of the platform these assets, these investments of yours, and you can also spend them from this wallet to the venue of the restaurant, or buy concert tickets and so on. So you can spend partially or entirely the whole amount you invested. And on those pillars, fundraising, investment, payments, and marketplace, we can actually build a lot of more use cases.
You're ready to end, Vlad? Time is almost off.
Okay, so we are going to expand in the loan markets in other sectors, and we are going to expand in vertical markets like all the tokenization opportunities in the financial markets.
Maybe this will become the subject of the Q&A because the Q&A it's gonna start now. Thanks for bringing your project in here. Let's talk about Morfin more from the jury side. Please ask a question. Just raise the hand and share your question on screen with us. Who wants to go first? I do see something from Simona. Simona, do you want to share it with us, please?
Yes, I wanted to know what's your revenue model. It's a percent of each transaction, or how do you?
Yes, there are transaction fees.
Okay.
And now I will leave the floor to Andrei. Thank you, Simona. Andrei, do you mind to share your questions with us and with Vlad, definitely?
Sure. So I have two questions. One, you were saying that you actually issue an IBAN bank account. So do you have partnership with local banks, or you actually have a banking license? And second question is, to me it seems, you're saying you're a new bank, right? So what's to stop Revolut or Monzo to actually do this, and like how do you protect against that? Because they could easily, with millions of customers, just go and address this market.
Yeah, so to answer the first question is quite simple. We use some sort of agent agreement, which allows us to issue IBANs through some APIs, which are basically the accounts and the money are sitting in a bank, which is a credit institution, and we just issue API virtual IBANs. It's exactly the model that Revolut has at the beginning, and still, if you have a Revolut account with a GB account, you still use this version of. So that part we do it more or less like Revolut does. Before they got this license in Lithuania, and for the second part of the question, actually our competition is not Revolut; is more or less Mintos and all the other 140 platforms for peer-to-peer lending. But none of them is using blockchain. None of them is using conversion of the loans using blockchain. So yeah, we are not so much afraid of Revolut. More or less, if Mintos or others will.
Let's see if Bogdan has to add something on this. His question was more or less into this topic. Bogdan.
Thank you, Alexandru. Vlad, if I understood correctly, the platform mitigates, in fact, the need of some businesses and the, let's say, amounts of money some others have. So it's an intermediary between those two worlds, exactly?
Yes,
am I correct?
Exactly. Yes,
okay.
Exactly. Yes.
Now, then in this case, how do you fulfill these interactions? I mean, from the document point of view.
What do you mean by document?
I mean, some give money and some loan those money. Okay.
Yes.
Do they sign any agreements or something?
Yes, of course. Yes. So basically, this is the basic principle of peer-to-peer lending. The borrowers basically publish a project they want to fund or a loan, and this loan is split in small fractions, and each investor will sign an individual contract for a part of the loan with the borrower, and the platform is automating all of this.
Okay, so it's an alternative for the, let's say, stock exchange, but in a very let's say, not so regulated manner, no?
It's another
kind of.
But maybe Cornel's question can help in this, or can let's put the elephant in the room question. Cornel, could you take this and share it with us all?
Yes. What's the business value of blockchain in this solution? Why? And how do you handle if something needs to be adjusted in the blockchain? I know some anti-fraud problems. So
yeah, so there are several added value. To start with, the most obvious one is actually liquidity. So it allows transactions inside and outside the platform of these loans. Second is transparency. I think you mentioned already that. And third would be possibility to basically create smart vouchers or smart loans. So basically, you put some logic, which you put it in the blockchain and not on the platform.